2 months ago, on Sound Off 745, I talked about Tammy Sytch and her latest run-in with the law. She's had many of them over the years. And I even joked at the time that if this woman spends any more time behind bars, she's going to have to start making mortgage payments on her cell. But that would imply that she was actually behind bars, which has not been the case recently. She's been behind bars in the past, but more recently, she has not been incarcerated. And now one person is dead as a result. And sadly, I knew it would come to this. I said as much on that same episode. You all knew it too. My greatest fear in this was not that she would hurt herself. It was that she would end up hurting an innocent party that had nothing to do with any of this. Per an article in the Ormond Beach Observer in Florida, Sytch was involved in a fatal 3-car crash on US 1 on March 25th. For whatever reason, this did not make the news or get picked up until just this week. And police say the ongoing investigation may result in criminal charges. The report states that Tammy Sytch, better known by her ring name Sunny, failed to stop at around 8:28 p.m. while driving what, according to TMZ, was a 2012 Mercedes southbound on US 1 just north of Grenada Boulevard and crashed into a stopped vehicle, a 2013 Kia Sorento, which then crashed into the vehicle in front of it, which was a 2011 GMC Yukon. Cops say that 2 witnesses said Sytch was driving at a high rate of speed before hitting the Kia. The driver of the vehicle hit by Sytch, identified as 75-year-old Julian LaFrancis Lassiter of Daytona Beach Shores, was transported to Halifax Health Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. Sytch was also transported to Halifax Health for treatment but was later released. You know, it always seems to work that way, doesn't it, when you hear stories like this? Someone gets plowed into by somebody, they don't even have to be drunk. And the driver usually walks away with barely a scratch. But the person they smashed into is killed. Too many stories like that. Far too many stories like that. And the story says that a search warrant was approved and executed to obtain a blood sample from Sytch, which police are using to investigate if she was impaired at the time of the crash. And the cops believe that she was under the influence of alcohol at the time, but toxicology results are still pending. The driver and the passengers in the third vehicle suffered injuries but were not transported to the hospital. Only a few hours before this accident took place on the 25th, Sytch was on Twitter, and she posted a picture of herself with the message, "Well, assholes, since my name has been towards the top of the kill list for the past 20 years, and I'm still fucking alive, shit, my autograph is worth more now. So once I do croak, you can sell it for a lot more money. Come see me out at a signing." When I read this story, like I'm sure a lot of you, it made me very angry. Nearly 20 times in the past decade, this woman has been arrested or otherwise in some kind of trouble with the law. Not 2 months ago, 2 months ago, I talked about this woman being hit by 11 charges in New Jersey. 11! Including at least her 6th, or either DUI or DWI, in the past 3 years alone. And those are just the ones that we know about. Those are just the ones that were either, public knowledge or reported on in the media. Those are the ones that we know about. Who knows how many other times she was out drunk or intoxicated and didn't get into an accident and managed to actually, not kill anybody before she went back home. Who knows? It's scary to think about, isn't it? These are just the ones that she's got popped for. She got hit with 11 charges in New Jersey not 2 months ago. DUI, driving with a suspended or revoked license, reckless driving, careless driving likely to endanger person or property, driving without a license, her second violation for operating a vehicle during a license suspension, failure to install an ignition interlock. The list goes on and on. That followed an arrest in January for making terroristic threats and unlawful possession of a weapon when she tried to stab, I guess it was her boyfriend, I guess, at the time, with a pair of scissors. I said it then, and I'll say it now. This woman is a menace to society, and to herself, but more important, to society, to the rest of us. She has no business getting behind the wheel of a car, regardless of what other information might come out about this case. And she has no business being anywhere but locked away behind bars. And the fact that she wasn't already behind bars is a colossal failure of our system. I was listening the other day to Carl Stern on the Observer website. I wanted to get his perspective because here's a guy who has spent more than 30 years in law enforcement. And I know he does, the occasional podcast on that website. And I saw that he had talked about this, and I wanted to get his perspective on things. And as he said, in many states, there simply is no mechanism to lock up somebody for driving without a license or for driving with a suspended license. The cops can't do anything about it, and neither can the judges. And he's right. Judges are not there to lock people up. Their only job is to interpret and apply the existing laws as they are currently on the books. Laws that differ from state to state. So the laws in New Jersey will be different than Florida. The laws in Florida will be different than Alabama, which is where he's from, and I believe he's worked in law enforcement. So it varies from state to state. That is why this woman is still allowed to walk free. Legislators are the ones who make the laws. So maybe we need to do a better job of electing people who can actually pass common sense legislation. You would think that this is something everybody could get on the same page with, that everybody could agree on, but the way our system is today, I don't think these people could agree on what to order for fucking lunch. I don't know what bond restrictions she may or may not have had stemming from the last incident. It's entirely possible that had this happened in the state of New Jersey and not Florida, she might actually be locked up right now. But it didn't. It didn't happen in New Jersey. If the toxicology reports come back positive for alcohol and she is above the legal limit, it's also possible that it would only count as her first offense. I don't remember offhand if any of the other times she got caught for DUI, if any of those were in Florida. If not, it's possible it would count as her first offense, as opposed to her 6th or 7th or 8th. Think of the absurdity of this. Absolute lunacy. Alcohol or no alcohol, this woman was driving without a license. She should not have been on the road. Period. The stuff last time about the ignition interlock device, and I talked about, what that is and all that she was supposed to have it and she didn't, or it won't let you operate the car if you breathe into it and it detects liquor on your breath or liquor at a certain level. What good does something like that even do if you get behind the wheel of somebody else's car? Or if you get a friend to blow into it who isn't drunk? Nothing. It does nothing. All of these rules, all of these stipulations, and none of them mean a goddamn thing. And the scary part is that this woman is still free right now to get behind the wheel if she wants to. There is nothing to stop her. I said previously, this woman is never going to learn until somebody gets killed. Well, somebody did get killed. But that statement was not accurate that I made. She won't ever learn. Even after this, even after she put somebody in the ground out of pure selfishness, she will not learn her lesson. There is no helping this woman. She is beyond help. Arrest after arrest, parole granted, parole revoked. All the time that she did spend behind bars, it made no difference. It made no difference. And never, not once, and here's the other thing, not once has she ever appeared contrite about her actions, or remorseful in any way, or regretful. She goes on social media and she behaves like it never happened. And she goes after people because she doesn't care. She's selfish. So her story is not going to have a happy ending. The only question is, how many more people is she going to take down with her along the way? My only hope is that this time the charges stick and she gets locked up for an extended period of time. I would call it a period of reflection for her, but again, I don't think she's ever going to change. I think it goes beyond addiction with this woman. I think it's just who she is. You know, I don't think anybody is dumb enough. I would hope that nobody listening to this is dumb enough to offer any excuses for this woman. There are no excuses. She deserves no sympathy. None. There are people with addiction issues out there. There might be some people listening to this right now who either have or in the past have had addiction issues, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it might be, who do deserve sympathy, who do want to change and made the effort to try or would like to, who recognize they have a problem and want to do something about it, and who don't put other people's lives, even if they are dealing with that and they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing and they know it, they're not putting other people's lives needlessly at risk every time they walk out their front door. There are people who want to be helped, and then there is Tammy Sytch. This woman is not some tragic figure. She's pathetic. And if anybody deserves sympathy, it's the family of the man that she killed. Imagine if that was your father, your grandfather, your husband, your brother, your friend. How would you feel? Now, the man's obituary said that he used to be a math teacher many years ago, and that he gave many people a leg up. He saw helping people as his life's mission. And he's survived by his daughter. He had 2 grandkids. He had a brother. I hope I never have to read another obituary ever again for someone who had the great misfortune of crossing paths with this woman. And that maybe, just maybe, justice might actually be served for once. But one thing I would not call this is a fall from grace. What a tragic fall for this man. A fall from grace. In order to fall from grace, just remember, you have to have grace in the first place.